If you have a dream you want to chase, if you have a dream that you want to achieve, if you have a dream that you want to curate into a reality, then you have to treat that dream like it's the baddest girl you ever got. Like, genuinely imagine, try to visualize her, just sweet, kind, feminine, down to earth, slim, thick, long hair, loyal, wifey, loves kids, just the baddest girl you ever got in your life. You know, imagine how you'd protect her, care for her, fall in love with her, commit to her, and that is exactly how you have to treat your dreams. You gotta protect your dream, you gotta care for it, you gotta fall in love with your dreams, because when you fall in love with something, you genuinely care, you genuinely give it effort. It's where you begin changing your perspective from I have to do this to I get to do this to I want to do this. You know, you don't feel like you have to improve, you get to improve, you want to improve. You want to be the best version of yourself worthy of that dream. You can't really just flirt with the idea or the aesthetic of it or think about what you can get out of it. You can't just flirt with your dreams. Flirting with your dreams will get you left on red. You know, it's kind of funny because the advice you get from most people is to always have a plan B, to always have a plan C, always have a plan D. Which technically is the logical thing to do, because the reality is most people aren't going to achieve their dreams. Most people will settle. So most people in general will say, oh, have a backup plan, play it safe, and then the rest of your time you can spend it on that passion project, that business idea, or whatever it is you really want to do, right? But if you really think about it, the ones that make it through, the ones that break through to the other side, they're not the ones that treat their dreams like a side chick. You know, it's not something you put off to the side and entertain whenever you're looking for some dopamine. They're the ones that go all in. They're the ones that commit to that dream. Because they understand that you can't really just flirt with the idea or do whenever you feel like it or just show it attention and care once in a while. You know, to give it just enough to keep that dream alive, but not to actually turn it into a reality. And that's because most people are addicted to hope and afraid of failure. Because if you never tried, then technically that means you never failed. And if you never failed, then in the back of your mind, you think that someday it can still happen somehow. And this is actually the biggest cope that a lot of people probably subconsciously fall into, because let's be honest, right? It takes courage to chase a dream. It takes a lot of conviction to not play it safe, to not settle, to go down the road that's less traveled. But the fact remains that no matter what, if there is no risk involved, then there is no reward. And when you really think about the things that are most worth it in life involve risk. The risk is what makes it valuable. The risk is what makes that story worth telling. And a lot of people get caught up in this trap of success porn and all this productivity stuff, and I'm gonna make a vision board, I'm gonna make a playlist, I'm gonna buy this whiteboard and a marker, I'm gonna make a New Year's resolution, and you end up doing all this foreplay and never actually get to the actions that you have to take. Because it gives you that similar feeling without actually having to take any risk. And listen, right, I don't know how many of you guys have ever been in love, but when you find that person on some real shit, it makes you want to be the best version of yourself. It's kind of like, you know how all of a sudden when a guy finds that girl, all of a sudden he becomes the most romantic guy in the world. When you got a girl you like, all of a sudden you start working out harder, you start dressing nicer, you start getting on your grind, you start putting in that consistent effort. You know, when a baddie walks in the room, when a baddie walks in your class, all of a sudden you sit a little bit more straight. All of a sudden you're a little bit more alert, a little bit more attentive. You gotta treat your dreams the exact same way. Your dream requires you to be the best version of yourself. And make no mistake, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to push yourself repeatedly out that comfort zone. You know, you're going to have to challenge yourself over and over again. And I think that's the one thing that stops a lot of people that nobody really talks about. But it's your ability to handle discomfort in any way, shape, or form. It's going to determine how successful you're going to be or whether or not you're going to achieve that dream. And for a lot of people, it's mental discomfort, right? You think about everything you have to do and all the steps you have to take to get there. It's like you're looking at this mountain you have to climb and you're standing at the bottom and you're looking at the path all the way to the top. And because you're looking at that mountaintop, it makes you want to quit before you ever start, before you even tried, before you do what you're supposed to do, which is focus on the steps that are right in front of you. And to be honest, that really is the key for starting anything. It's not only just taking that first step, but understanding that the path is going to illuminate as you walk it. It's never been the case where you knew the exact blueprint on your way to achieving that dream. The answers will reveal themselves as you take action. And it's why people say that the harder you work, the luckier you become. And you can only really do this when you fully commit to the process, just like the girl of your dreams, right? Just like the baddest girl you ever met. You know, it's actually funny how motivated some guys can be when it comes to getting girls. Sometimes guys want a baddie more than they want success itself. Hell, most guys want success just so that they can get a baddie in the future. So I guess if that's the case, then treat your dreams like it's the baddest girl you ever met in your life.